Oh, no countdown. Okay. Different guy driving, so don't have any idea what's going on. So, welcome to Short Yardage for Fantasy's Sake on Wednesday night, brought to you by The Big Cheese. I am your host, Doug Green. I am joined by Andrew McKay, and we have a new returning champion. Linda is here to make her debut. How's the weather out there, Linda?
It was cold and rainy and windy today, and we're lucky I got out of bed and made a productive day of it. I wasn't actually that productive at work, but I went, so what can you do?
That's exactly what we had here, too.
Yeah, it was it was nasty.
Not here for the weather talk. We're here for the football talk. So let's see what we want to talk about this week. We've got the Thursday games. We had some pretty interesting stuff this weekend. Do you guys want to do a recap? Do you want to look ahead? Do we want to make fun of DJ's food draft? Because nobody should take deviled eggs in the first round. However you guys want to play this, I'm cool with.
Can we review just Monday Night Football real quick?
Absolutely.
That was fun. Well, up until Tom Brady wouldn't shake Jared Goff's hand, which I can't, it's a pandemic. You should be shaking anybody's hand. But that was a great game if you had Rams wide receivers or Jared Goff, not to call out names. I had them, so it was fantastic for me. But it was a fun game for fantasy's sake.
Yeah, the game itself was pretty interesting. I was surprised that the Tampa Bay had as much offense as they actually did, especially scoring a few passing touchdowns. But the Rams really came out and guns blazing. Goff played great, so I think that was really reassuring for the Rams to see their quarterback do well, where he's been kind of struggling as of lately.
Yeah, he looked pretty good. I was actually surprised how well he looked last night. And then obviously the highlight for me was was Mike Evans mowing down people to get that touchdown and just carrying people with him. That was fun.
And Fournette scored, so
I don't know how he kept getting opportunities, but I'm great if you played him. My highlight was I drunkenly picked up Rams defense sometime during the week in my most important league. I don't remember doing it. That's where we were when Sunday games started. And I went through do I bench them and just rely on Goff and Woods? I needed 30 points between the two of them and with the defense. And they got down to 1 point, and I was like, this is a bad idea. I should have benched him. And they got 2 interceptions, and I was like, I'm a genius.
Always great when that works out that way. I tend to not get lucky.
I mean, most of the time I don't, but when I do, I'm going to talk about it. You can guarantee that.
Yes.
Yeah. It's part of the reason why I streamlined the Chargers defense this past weekend against the Jets. And was a little scary at first when the Jets were able to get on the board, and I was wondering if the Chargers were gonna charger and choke. But they backed Flacco up to the 1 yard line and got an interception, took it for 6. And
you love that.
It's actually what helped me win one of my matchups.
Doug will love this, but my streamer from the Chargers was Michael Badgley, who ended up scoring 11 points if you play with kickers in your league, which was nice. Because he was at 8 by halftime. I was like, this is a good call. If my kicker gets 8 points, I'm happy camper.
The thing about not playing with kickers, the staff league is the only league I've ever played in that has no kickers.
I don't know. It makes it more fun for me.
I am on your side with kickers, Linda, pro kicker.
It makes it more fun. Now I can watch every part of the game and be like, oh, this is a good time. This is important.
Yep.
Till I get them punters worked into a league next year.
I played in a league with punters once. That was infuriating. That league only lasted 1 year too. But I'm
going to just do a punter kicker league. That's it. No, just special teams.
Are you putting returners in there too, just to spice it up?
Probably. There's a lot to flesh out, but I'm going to do it. That's all I know.
I like it. See, I'm an IDP guy, so I like those kind of weird and quirky setups and things anyway. So you would think that I would be the guy who'd be pro kicker because I like the weird, funky stuff, but I just can't get behind it. A lot of times I can't get behind it, but I'm softening my stance.
I just joined a late startup. That's 8 IDP flex spots and a kicker, 2 tight ends, triple flex. I was like, no. And they were like, there's going to be a kicker. I was like, all right, I'll do it. So I don't know if they added that. So I'd say yes, but the draft is not going well, to say the very least.
Oh, boy.
I decided to go 0 running back kind of on a whim. Well, like modify. I have Aaron Jones. Like every running back I have right now is going to be a free agent next year. And I only have 3, and we're in like the 15th or 16th round.
Yikes on that.
Yeah, ballsy. I got a lot of good wide receivers, though.
That's the way that I like to play. That's the way that I was kind of the dynasty kind of thought that I usually go with for startups is hit wide receiver early. Running backs, generally, you can kind of churn through those a little bit easier, and then finish it off with the tight ends and the quarterbacks.
Yeah, the double tight end thing, I was not paying attention, and all of a sudden, tight ends were like flying off the board, and I was like, "What's happening?" And I go look at my team, and I was like, "Oh, we start 2. That's a problem. We gotta tackle that." And somebody took Blake Jarwin right before me. I'm not saying that's cold-hearted, but it is a little,
just a wee bit.
So what do we have Thursday?
So Thursday, we've got 3. Well, we got 2 shitty games and 1 decent game. Is basically the way that I'm looking at this. So we've got day starts with Texans-Lions. Yeah, that's not going to be too great, but at least they're semi-competitive. Middle game is Washington-Dallas. Both 2, 3, and 7 teams, so that ought to be fun.
Yeah, that's going to be a
2, 3, and 7 teams competing for first place in the NFC East.
Yeah. One of those may end up being a playoff team.
Oof.
And then the nightcap is Ravens-Steelers. I didn't realize the Ravens were only 6-4. I would have had guessed them somewhere around 7-3, 8-2. So
yeah, Lamar is definitely playing a sophomore slump right now, and it's showing. I don't know if teams just figured him out and are keying in on that run and that read option, because that team really isn't much different than last year's team, with the exception of they have another running back in J.K. Dobbins, and they added a few linebackers. I mean, they did lose Earl Thomas, but I can't imagine Earl Thomas being that much of a difference maker back there, where you're changing basically an undefeated team to 6-4.
And they don't have J.K. Dobbins. They won't have him Thursday, so it'll be Gus Edwards and my guy Justice Hill.
Unless Lamar decides to throw it up all the time, and obviously he's got Willie Snead in Hollywood and Mark Andrews and his slew of receivers.
Dude, you know this is a week that Marquise Brown goes off, because it's finally the week that everybody's like, we're done. We don't care about your air yards. We're over it. We're not going to start you anymore. So you know this is the week that he scores 2 touchdowns and has like 200 yards. Like, just an insane game. I just know it. Yeah. Every time we give up on somebody, they're like, but what about this? Yeah.
I don't know if the Lions have anybody that can keep up with him.
They're playing Pittsburgh.
So,
oh yeah,
you may still be right.
I was going on to my next point about Deshaun Watson playing the Lions.
Deshaun Watson's that's a great start this week. That's a great play for him. The Lions are less than good, and which sucks because I have so much Matt Stafford, and him and Matt Patricia do not vibe. And it ain't vibing from a fantasy teams at all.
No, but how many more years did Stafford have left on his contract? I got to think that he's coming up on the end, and I'm willing to bet that they don't re-sign him.
Let me Google that for you while you guys discuss.
Yeah, check with headquarters and get back to us.
I want to say it's.
There's been a lot of people that are like, what about Stafford and Denver? And like, man, I can't give up on Drew Lock just yet. I know it's not great, but if it were Stafford, if that's who we gave up for, I'd be fine with that.
I think Stafford. I think he's got 2 years left.
Yeah, he's got 21 and 22, and he's a free agent in 23.
Yeah,
and his cap hits is $35 million next year and $28 million the year after that. So they're not cutting him.
Yeah, no, they're sticking with Stafford for a little bit, but
well, hopefully they cut Matt Patricia.
I would imagine he's probably hanging it up afterwards, unless there's that much of a team that needs him somewhere else. But I can't see a team needing Matt Stafford within the next 3 to 4 years, especially with the
drive down state to Chicago.
No, Chicago is drafting a quarterback this year. They are drafting a quarterback.
But their record's good enough that they're not going to get.
They could trade up.
That's true.
Yeah, if the draft was today, they'd be picking 16th, so they're right in the middle.
Yeah, they could definitely trade up, or they play the long game. Trevor Lawrence has already said that he's not going to play for the Jets, so Trevor Lawrence stays another year at Clemson, and then the Bears are just awful again for a whole nother year, and then they pick Trevor Lawrence. I really hope that doesn't happen because that really hurt me to say that, but we need
my
to
Denzel Mims shares. Yeah, my Denzel Mims shares need Trevor Lawrence to go to the Jets. That's what my Mims shares need. I'm banking on that at this point.
So, Linda, your Broncos are going to get your look at Taysom Hill this week. Did you get to see any of the game on Sunday?
Of the Saints game?
Yeah.
Well, I watched Red Zone, so I saw a little bit of all the games. What I know for sure is Taysom Hill absolutely screwed my Alvin Kamara shares by rushing those 2 touchdowns in. Our run defense is pretty good, so it'll be interesting to see if we can stop a mobile tight end. And by that, I mean Taysom Hill. But, if they play like they did Sunday, that'll be great. But I don't know that we can do that again. There was a lot of fire there Sunday.
Yeah. I watched the game, and it wasn't necessarily Taysom Hill won that game. It was the Saints defense won that game. He just happened to be put in a good enough position to convert.
Yeah, it was. With Red Zone, you see like 15% of every game. Mm-hmm. But if I was a stat person, and I'm not, but if I was, like throwing and slant boy, Mike Thomas had a good game finally, and that's great. But I don't know that he's going to be able to do that continually. Eventually, defenses, and now that we've seen him at the starting quarterback for an entire game, there's film to study. There's a little bit more than the 18 throws we had previously seen. So I think that's helpful.
Yeah. So what happens when Sean Payton decides that, hey, Taysom Hill, you're not the starter this week. Jameis, you're in.
I cry.
Yeah.
Sean Payton is the kind of person that would do that.
According to the pregame,
think about it.
According to the pregame show, Sean Payton promised Taysom Hill that if anything ever happened to Breeze, he would get his shot, and that's basically what it came down to this week. Was him and Jameis were basically equal in practice. Yeah, it was basically they were equal in practice, and he's like, I made this guy a promise, so he's going to get the start.
I think now that he's won, does he keep getting the start, or do they say, well, you were confident, but it wasn't fun?
I don't know.
He got the job done. So, I mean, they ran the ball a lot, obviously, and they pulled out the win. So why fix what isn't broken? That, and they went up against an incompetent Matt Ryan. So
Man, now I'm tilting on a Tuesday, and it's a little early for my weekly tilt.
Michael, in his article today, said that he thought that Matt Ryan might be at the end of his ride, and I'm like, boy, that's tough to see that.
I don't know how you have that team and you don't have a better record than you do. I mean, I know the defense really screwed them out of a couple games, especially early. They should not have lost their first 3 games. And then Todd Gurley scored that one against the Lions, and then the Lions at Stafford marched downfield and tossed it up. Kenny got to Hawkinson in the end zone. So I just don't know how Matt Ryan is losing as many games as he is. And I know we kind of point towards the defense a lot, but if you look at like the fantasy stats, he's a good quarterback, good fantasy quarterback. And I don't understand how it's not translating to success on the field, especially with the team that he has.
I think it's just it's just situational football. They're fine the first 3.5 quarters, and then you get those late game situations where you need to convert that first down via the run and pick up that 3rd and 1. You need to pick up that 3rd and 4 with a throw, and those end up just getting stuffed, or there's an incomplete pass, and then they're punting again. When instead of getting that first down and then chewing another 2 minutes off the clock, they're giving the ball back, and that's when it's coming back and biting them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we're at the end of Matt Stafford's career. Stafford every other year's. No, Matt Ryan. Did I say Stafford?
Yeah.
That's my bad. But every other year's been up and down. So if we get 2 downers in a row, then I could see that fading completely.
But do you think Atlanta's in a situation where they can trade him? I think they're in a similar situation as Detroit is with Stafford.
We traded
1 or 2
for
years.
Case Keenum a couple of years ago, so any quarterback's tradable.
True.
Yeah, Brock Osweiler made his career out of it.
Yeah, dude, it seems so fucking. That's insane to me. Still, I think about Brock Osweiler maybe once a week. I'm like, how?
Half a good year in Denver, sign a huge deal in Houston, get traded to Cleveland, and sign another good deal, and then retire. He scammed everybody. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Trevor Simeon's getting picked up. Like, it's insane.
I think it's funny, as I noticed the other week, how many quarterbacks the Jets have that were actually Broncos at one point.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah.
When Trevor Simeon was a Jet, and he, Sam got mono, and they rolled Trevor Simeon out and he broke his ankle. Like, Broncos fans across the board were like, awesome, we're gonna get to see Trevor Simeon back out on the field. As much as we knew it wasn't going to work, there was a significant chunk of us that were like, oh, come on, man. You just root for a dude that's a 7th round draft pick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we all did that. And then he went out there and broke his leg, and we were like, whoa, no, that's not what we wanted.
That's not the way it's supposed to work, Trevor.
Yeah, sucks. I got a Trevor Simeon jersey. You want to talk about homerism?
Matt Ryan is signed through 2023, but it says that he's got an out after 2022.
Okay, so the Falcons could eliminate him in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
By that time, they could draft another quarterback, and I don't know. I feel weird. I always feel weird about teams drafting quarterbacks the way the Packers did with Jordan Love, and expecting their current quarterback to take them under their wing and train them to take over their starting jobs.
Well, they did that with another guy too, right? They traded. Who else did they have that they traded?
You talking about the Packers?
Yeah, the Packers. They did that with like Deshaun Kaiser too, right?
Deshaun Kaiser. They didn't draft him.
There was another quarterback in the Rodgers era that they did that with. They drafted him in like the second or third round. He wasn't a first round guy. He was like he was like day 2. And everybody's like, he's going to be the heir apparent. And Rodgers is like, I don't want anything to do with this guy.
Yeah. I think I do remember that. And I don't know who it was. But in the same token, like, I mean, I just don't know at what time, at what some teams where they look at that and they're like, yeah, this could happen. You should know your franchise quarterback is not going to be okay with that. Why are you trying to piss him off? It was like the Steelers drafted Mason Rudolph, and they were like, yeah, like, Big Ben will train him. But I mean, they didn't even draft Rudolph that early. I thought he was like a third rounder, and I just picture Rudolph coming in training camp like, all right, I'm getting trained by Big Ben. Let's go. And Big Ben's just like, no, fuck you.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. Well, yeah, Mason Rudolph's really panning out for the NFL. It's going pretty well for him.
Yeah, he's,
no big bumps in the road.
Yeah, none. He's just, losing his helmet, then getting hit by it. And
oh my God. That was wild. And James Washington also not panning out for the Steelers, which breaks my heart.
What happened to him? I loved him coming out of Oklahoma State. He was like my number 1 wide receiver. And now he just can't even get on the field in Pittsburgh.
I mean, he's playing behind
Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, and Juju Smith. I mean, if Juju leaves, maybe that opens it up. But you're right. I mean, he's the 4th target on that team right now. And in the offseason, like, I was not ready to give up on him. I was like, I'm not taking Deontay Johnson where he's at. I'll wait and take James Washington 12 rounds later, way later. And
what I think is funny is that
work out.
Antonio Brown was in the perfect position for him to give the middle finger to the Pittsburgh Steelers in an "I told you so" fashion, and he messed it up all by himself because Juju Smith. Everybody thought that he could be a number 1. He's not a number 1. Very much so not a number 1. And it's very clear that they should have kept Antonio Brown because he was that number 1 guy. Juju's was getting more looks there. And I don't understand. Like I said, I don't understand how some of these players, fuck these situations up.
Money.
Ego.
Yeah, and also ego.
But you get paid millions and millions of dollars to not make a fool of yourself, to not it basically says, hey, don't do anything stupid. Don't mess up. Don't fuck up. And they can't even do that.
Yeah, but also when they do, the NFL's like, nah, actually we're fine with it. So why would they change? I mean, fuck. Melvin Gordon got a DUI 3 weeks ago. We haven't heard shit. Nothing. Now, that is a whole nother conversation. I'm not a big Melvin Gordon fan. So when that happened, it was just like cherry on the top for me of like, look at this dude going 80 and a 20 for no reason. And we just don't talk about it. We just want to talk about it. It's fine. There are players all over the league that have insane accusations, charges, whatever it is. Oh, yeah. And the NFL goes like, sit a couple games, but it's fine. You can come back. Yeah. So why would they stop acting like idiots?
I think
Antonio Brown is the reason that, like, he's a poster board for act however you want because we're going to give you another chance.
Yeah, I think personally it's just what your relationship with Roger Goodell is. If you're cool with Goodell, you can get away with murder, literally. Yeah. And
just don't smoke any pot.
Yep. Just don't smoke pot and don't be Wes Welker and pop Molly.
Oh, fucking Wes Welker. I love that little guy.
I forgot about that.
I think he's the only guy that got his suspension extended for what he did upon finding out that I saw some article, some meme somewhere, and it was just like it was like Roger Goodell extends Wes Welker's suspension once he found out that Molly was actually a drug.
He was going to be fine with it. Hell, the Patriots owner didn't get in any trouble at all. They were like,
that went away quickly, didn't it?
It went away so fast. It's insane. But I could go on for hours. I won't.
I wonder if some of these on the back end, like Robert Kraft, maybe, went to that parlor and said, hey, I'll give you $2 million to just shush.
Yeah. And if I'm that parlor, I'm like, hell yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
I get to keep all the girls safe. Like, man. But it went away so fast. But the same thing happened. The Washington football team. All those allegations, all that awful things, all these terrible things came out, all these stories, and it was talked about for like 2 days. And then, somebody made a catch or did a thing, and everybody was like, but let's focus on this part. Like, but I felt
like a lot of that was done by the newspaper. That when the reporters went in and they did this like sting and found all this out, and it wasn't like a direct result of Snyder coming forward and been like, oh yeah, I did all this. And
I did bad things. Well, Snyder's smarter than the average man.
He doesn't look it.
Yeah. Can't tell by his financial decisions. DJ chiming in. All right.
I can only assume that's DJ.
Yes. Yeah, there are only two of us that have access to the For Fantasy Sake Facebook account, and that wasn't me. So that makes that easy.
Tell DJ that his quarterback is a freak for putting ketchup on his turkey.
Yes.
I'm mad about it.
That
should be illegal.
This is wrong.
It's just weird.
Yeah.
And there were people that were like, yeah, we do that. I was like, you should talk to somebody.
Yeah.
That's a concern.
I feel like nobody in their right mind does that. And anybody that says that they do is just like, oh yeah, it's something normal.
Dude, if my 6-year-old was like, can I have some ketchup for my turkey? I would tell her no. Like, it doesn't, no, you can't. You can have some gravy like a normal human, but no, you cannot have any ketchup.
I would expect that from a 6-year-old though, like to want to mix random ass foods together, and it's like,
but I'm not going to let her.
Macaroni.
I do that. But only on like baked macaroni, not baked like good homemade macaroni. Just like if I'm going to buy a Kraft, it's already trash. I'm going to make it trashier.
My youngest daughter likes to take her pizza and dip it in ranch, and I'm like, I'm not sure about that. But
mine's a ranch dipper as well, but she doesn't like stuffed crust, which is insane of a child.
Well, she's borderline vegetarian anyway, so she won't eat anything with bones in it. So there are no ribs. There's no fried chicken. Like, she won't eat any of that stuff. And then like, she's weird about like certain meats. She doesn't like hamburger. So taco night's hard. I'm just like, just make this.
I don't blame her for the bone thing. I can't. It makes me feel like too barbaric. I don't know. So like, if I get ribs, I'll eat it with a fork. And anytime I get ribs, whoever I'm with is definitely gonna re-eat my ribs because there's barely anything missing. And I don't eat wings. I'm a boneless wing girl. And I'm proud of it, damn it.
DJ's chiming in with ketchup on mashed potatoes.
Macaroni and eggs.
Macaroni and eggs?
Well, ketchup on mashed potatoes, ketchup on macaroni, ketchup on eggs. I'm assuming that he means ketchup on mashed potatoes, ketchup on macaroni, and ketchup on eggs. Mm-hmm. But I would not also be surprised if DJ just mixes all that together.
No, I don't do ketchup on eggs unless I've made like a fancy omelet, and then I might dip it in ketchup. I'm not a big egg person.
That sounds like you cook breakfast and put it in a blender.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're gonna do it with any meal of the day, do it with breakfast.
I actually don't mind the ketchup on the macaroni thing. Like if you're eating a hot dog and you're having macaroni and it drips off of there, I'm cool with that.
No, well, in fairness, the only time I eat macaroni is when I'm hammered. So it'll be like 2 a.m. and I'm like, oh, Velveeta and shells. And then I'm going to add ketchup and I just bathe in my disgust with myself and it's fine. And people are like, you're a freak. And I'm like, yeah, are you new here?
Last night we had fish sticks, tater tots, and macaroni and cheese. And I'm like, I'm 43 years old. I'm eating like a 3-year-old. I do not care.
Fine. The other night I ate pizza rolls and sour gummy worms and root beer. Like I was a goddamn 13-year-old playing Xbox and I didn't have a problem with it at all. It was a Sunday. I had Red Zone on. I did not get out of bed. I just like Jabba the Hutted all day long. It was fantastic. So
I used to be able to do that. Now my stomach doesn't let me eat weird combinations anymore.
I'm a sucker for sour gummy worms.
Yeah, see, I can eat them by themselves, but once I mixed it with like root beer, forget it. My stomach would be in knots for the rest of the day.
I was so hungover. I wouldn't have drank a beer if you paid me. I was like, I need water and also carbonation. And root beer won out.
Yeah. All right. So, other good games this week. Looking at Titans and Colts looks like a nice little matchup there Sunday morning. That could be a fun one.
You know, my least favorite.
I definitely
my
think
least favorite.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say my least favorite thing about the Colts is deciding which tight end is gonna score a touchdown. And I've been playing it all year long. It's Phillip Rivers is infuriating in that because he likes a tight end. And I think Tennessee is actually pretty good against the tight end, which is concerning. But that's like, I hate guessing who Phillip Rivers is going to feature. That being said, if they don't start featuring Michael Pittman Jr. more, I'm going to throw a fit.
Yeah, he's really somebody who should be seeing the ball more. I can't remember who I was talking with. I can't remember if that was on the show on Sunday or what, but we were just like, where did T.Y. Hilton go? Like at the start of the year, he looked like his usual T.Y. Hilton self, and then he just disappeared. I think that was Sunday on the show that I think we discussed that he just injuries or something. He just died.
I read this a while back, so it may not still be true. I would wager that it is, but that he hasn't had a 100-yard season since Andrew Luck retired.
Wow.
Yeah. Oof.
That is a long, hard fall.
And the running backs are frustrating there too.
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to be Hines or is it going to be Jonathan Taylor? And then they're like, Hines is going to get the bulk of the touches. And then they ran Taylor all game. So
my favorite is when they throw Wilkins in there every now and again just to throw everybody off.
Yeah, Frank Reich does not care about your fantasy team.
No, not in the slightest.
Very Bill Belichickian in that way.
No, I was looking up, trying to get an update to see if the Bears had an idea who they were starting at quarterback, and they still don't. They're like, yeah, we're going to start Foles or Trubisky, whichever one's healthier.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that in the press conference yesterday.
And it was like, all right, what if they're both unhealthy? Are we going to roll with Bray then again? Because I hope not. I'll cry the entire Sunday night game.
Tyler Bray is not beating Aaron Rodgers.
No. If Aaron Rodgers took the night off and they started Jordan Love, he would not beat Jordan Love.
Probably not. Jordan Love's actually fairly decent.
Awful Sunday night game.
Yeah, that's the Sunday night game is Bears-Packers this week in Green Bay.
If the Bears had a competent offense, you know what? If the Bears had a remotely close to competent offense, they would be within first place of the NFC North. Within 1 or 2 games of Green Bay.
Darnell Mooney has been overthrown and overthrown underthrown, and overthrown some more, and that is so frustrating. He's another guy like him and Denzel Mims. Once they get confident quarterback play, I'm so excited for them, but like, boy, it's been painful to watch.
Yeah, I've been wanting Mooney to get more involved, and they're trying to get him involved, but they just can't seem to get him the ball deep. And it's like
he's always open. It's not on him. It's terrible passes that aren't gonna, if he has to lay all the way out, then there's no reason for him to be 5 yards beat to a defender,
See, what I struggle with is Foles can't get out of the pocket and run like Trubisky can. And my whole argument to it in the beginning was, well, Foles is a little bit more accurate of a passer, but he hasn't been now. He's been overthrowing people much like Trubisky did. So why would you not allow yourself that more versatile of a game with a quarterback that can at least escape the pocket if he wants to and run and pick up yards if you're still going to deal with the overthrows? So, because Trubisky, yeah, he got pulled because he made that bad decision of, I threw it right to a defender and they took it for 6. That shouldn't have happened, but I don't think that was grounds for him getting pulled.
There was basically Foles was Nagy's guy in KC, and so this was his chance to put his boy in there.
And you can see how well that's working under the Matt Nagy offense.
Yeah,
I said it all last year that it was the play calling, it's not the quarterback. And I've been berated, I've been made fun of, and I've been shunned out of conversations because of that. And now it's come around this season, and more people are starting to hop on the train that I've been on. And it's just been like, welcome to the show.
So what did you think of Lazer's play calling then last week or 2 weeks ago or whenever it was?
First half, I thought it was great. I thought it was good. And then the second half, it just seemed like he didn't want to score at all. It seemed like that he wanted to try and get fancy like Matt Nagy likes to do, and that he wanted to I think that they ran Wildcat way too much. It was like as soon as Patterson got on the field, you knew where the ball was going. Why continue to throw to him, to run with him, and I'm not saying don't get him involved in the plays, but if you're consistently running it with him, use him as a distraction.
Yeah, you've got to have him on the field when he's not getting the ball as well too, so they don't key on him.
Yeah, because that honestly, they should have won that game. That game was within one score. That defense kept him in, showing that Kirk Cousins is not a good quarterback. And yeah, they squandered it for themselves. And
Kirk Cousins, not a good quarterback, but Adam Thielen, good wide receiver.
Yes.
Underappreciated wide receiver.
I would argue that fact, but I think I'm going to lose that one.
You are.
Yeah.
Adam Thielen.
This is a hill I'm ready to die on.
I've wanted Adam Thielen to be a bad receiver and tried to convince myself that he's a bad receiver just by random things, and he's not given me much evidence to support that argument, so I can't say that he is.
You know that trade for Diggs to go to Buffalo really ended up working in both Diggs and Thielen's favor. Nobody thought Thielen could be the wide receiver one there. And I know Justin Jefferson's been getting targets, but Thielen is going to be that go-to guy. And then nobody thought Josh Allen and Diggs were going to have the connection that they are.
Yeah.
Diggs, you got Diggs cheap if you were doing startup drafts this offseason. Everybody was like, I don't want Josh Allen throwing to that guy at all. And so for them to both benefit from that, and both, the Bills benefited obviously as a team more, but for fantasy's sake, I did it twice. is it's great that it worked out for everybody. And even better if you got those guys at a discount because everybody was fading them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think if you were able to scoop Josh Allen up in a later pick, you got a great steal. And obviously, Stephon Diggs was not even in the top. I don't think he was in the top 15 receivers. So
it would be. I may go back and look just to see how late he went a couple times because he's had an insane season, and everybody just I completely wrote this dude off. It's insane what we decide works for our stories in the off season.
Yep.
We just say stuff and hope it sticks, throwing shit against the wall.
half of what it is.
Fantasy Analyst 101. Yep, that's pretty much how that goes. The other thing before we take off, wanted to ask real quick, Kyler Murray's arm. Any concerns about that? He did not look great. I was hoping for, a real shootout there against Seattle. But that arm was really, really bothering him. Any concerns about that going forward this week?
Absolutely. What?
Oh. All right, let's hear your point.
Bring it out.
Well, I mean, anytime your starting quarterback has shoulder pain, I think that should be a concern. And I know, like, Kyler Murray gets placed in that, like, running, he's a mobile quarterback, and he is a mobile quarterback, but he's not Lamar Jackson. Like, he's a passing quarterback as well. It's just a bonus that he can run as well as he can. So I think anytime that your quarterback's shoulder is in pain, it should be a concern, especially if you're talking about fantasy, the season that he's had. I mean, he put up still a 20-point game, but like when you're used to 28 to 30 points every week, 20 points isn't anything to dance around about. So I didn't see anything come out today. He's just got that Q by his name, and that's automatically a concern for me.
It's not a concern for me, more or less because he stayed in the game and he played. It would be a lot more concerning if he would have come out and they would have sat him on the bench, because if he wasn't healthy enough to play, they wouldn't have left him in there. That's their franchise quarterback. They're not going to put him in that situation where he's going to screw up his arm and be out longer than he has to be. It's not really as much of a concern to me. And they also have him using his legs and being able to run out of the pocket. But I'm a little surprised as well that it wasn't a shootout. And I can only guess that the defenses figured each other out a little better. Seattle's defense played a lot better than I thought they were going to. Maybe they, realized that, hey, if we actually, guard and monitor where DeAndre Hopkins is at this time, he won't burn us, and he won't, because I think that was the game that he had over 100 some odd yards.
He always has over 100 some odd yards.
Well, it was the one where he caught he had this big touchdown catch where it was just he ran not the length of the field, but it was like a 60-yard catch, I think. And so they kind of let him get loose the last matchup, and Seattle did a good job of reining him in, though. Yeah, I know the 100 yards was a little bit of a not helpful hint.
That's all right. Okay, so traditionally on Short Yardage, we pick the Thursday night games. So we also have a tradition if you're the only person to pick them, Linda. So.
Hey, man, you don't want to make bets with me right now. I'll beat him up if I can win it.
No. It's no bets. So let's do the Thursday games. So let's start with the early game. So Texans, Lions. Do we usually do score or just winner, Andrew? I don't remember.
We do winner and score.
Winner and score. So ladies first.
Oh, no. Ladies pick who goes first. I'm not going first.
All right.
Andrew,
fine.
you got it. Hit him with it.
All right. First game, I'm taking Houston over the Lions. I'm gonna go with a weird score here. I'm gonna give a 30-19.
And I was thinking Houston. I don't know if Houston can get to 30, to be quite honest. But you know what? Well, let's go Houston 24, Lions 7.
Well, me and Matt Prater are fighting, but I still think Houston over Lions will go 27-12.
Okay. Fair. All right.
I'm gonna write this down. I'm gonna write it down.
And then in the middle game slap fight, we have Washington and Dallas. Yeah, the eyebrow said it all, Andrew. That is.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Is there a way that this game can be exciting and end in a tie?
No.
I mean,
It's
it could
probably
happen,
0-0
but I
tie.
don't think realistically it's going to. You know what? I'm actually gonna go with Washington in this one. I'm gonna give Washington the dub, and I'm gonna say 23-17.
See, and I was going to go Dallas like 20-14.
I definitely think it's gonna be a one-score game.
I love that it comes down to me. Which one of you am I going to be on the side of? I think Washington pulls out a win. I know they got Dalton back in in Dallas, and they looked all right. Zeke had a big game, Pollard had a big game. It was an okay weekend for them, but Washington defense is nothing to laugh at or turn a cheek to. So I'll give it to Washington 21-14.
All right. So I get to do the howl then. Oh!
Lone wolf in it.
Yeah. All right. And then the last one, Ravens Steelers.
I don't think the Ravens have enough to beat the Steelers this week. It's basically Lamar and two of his crony running backs back there. So I don't think that they are able to find a way to get past that Pittsburgh defense. And I'm gonna take the Steelers, and I'm gonna do a 21-10.
Okay. I think I'm also taking Pittsburgh. I'm not happy about it. But, yeah, I'm going to go something like 21-10 is actually a pretty good score. I'm going to say 27-13.
You son of a bitch. I literally just wrote Ravens, Steelers 27, Ravens 13. So that's that. Does that make you a lone wolf because you didn't guess the same exact score that we do? Feels like it should.
No, because
All right. I don't make the rules, but I'm just saying. Feels like it should.
No.
Unfortunately not. Okay. All right. So anything else you guys want to talk about before we sign it off for the night?
No, I'm cool.
It's Justice Hill week. That's really all I'm worried about.
Can you really like a guy from Iowa State from a Big 12 rival?
Yeah, you might not be able to. I could like him a whole lot. But yeah, I could see how you would have some apprehension.
That's my fight with David Montgomery every week.
My mom the other day, I was talking about Kyler Murray on my fantasy teams, and she was like, "You have a Sooner on your fantasy teams?" I was like, "Yeah, Mom, it's Kyler Murray." Yeah, I absolutely do.
Yeah.
She was not happy with me.
See, that's the great thing about going to an NAIA school is I don't have a dog in any of these fights. Like, I do not care at all.
Well, I mean, I went to an NAIA school, but my dad played football at Oklahoma State, so I just, wasn't good. I didn't qualify for Oklahoma State, but it was in my blood regardless.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's okay. We didn't qualify for Oklahoma State either.
Yeah. What can you
I might
do?
have, but that was a long time ago. I don't think I would qualify now. Let's put it that way. Too many brain cells going through too many years. All right, so that will wrap it up. So thank you for coming on, Linda. Hopefully you can, next time you have the opportunity to come back, please come back and join us. Andrew, as always, on Wednesdays. Appreciate the time, sir.
Yep.
And for our sponsors, The Big Cheese, we appreciate them sponsoring us on this. So everybody, have a safe and happy Thanksgiving, and we will see y'all Sunday morning.
See you guys.